Welcome to the Women Getting Stupid Rich podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Blosman, and this is Season 1. I believe putting women in leadership roles is not the answer. I believe it's simply a band-aid, a distraction from the real solution. Quantum leap change for women happens when they own wildly successful and profitable businesses, creating thousands of bootstrapping self-made female millionaires and billionaires. This podcast allows you to ride shotgun with me as I launch my new business, Femcanic Tools. I will be documenting my full journey from $0 to the first million with a goal of doing it in 12 months. I will share all of the behind-the-scenes secrets of what works and what doesn't, using 100% of my own money with no day job. On your marks, get set, let's do this. Welcome to the Women Getting Stupid Rich podcast. This is Jamie B, and I'm your host. Now, in this episode, I want to dive into the concept of what a marble jar company is. So what is a marble jar company? But before we dive into that, I want to make sure to share with you that this is a 4-part series where we're really building out how to scale your business. So the next, including this episode, there's a total of 4 episodes where we're going to string them together in a series where it puts together the key elements for scaling your business, and not just scaling it, but scaling it fast. And we're going to go through step-by-step instructions on how to get to the core of how to scale fast for a 7-figure business. So where does it all start? It all starts with this principle that I learned, quite honestly. It didn't have to do specifically to business, but I heard it first through Brené Brown in one of her presentations around this concept of a marble jar friend. And I got to thinking more and more about it, that why do we limit it to friends? Why not pull something like that into business? So let's dive into this and really get our hands dirty around this marble jar concept. This is the foundational element that you build everything else on. And quite honestly, I think it's the secret sauce for women, female-owned businesses. Now, I think it could be the secret sauce for all businesses. But the reality is the environment that we're in, the society that we're in, and where we're at in the progress as a whole, as a world, business is a very masculine space, very masculine. And some of my biggest cheerleaders and mentors have been men. Nothing wrong with that. But men teach masculine ways, majority of the time. I know there's always exceptions, but in business, businesses have been built and established based on masculinity. This marble jar company concept is revolutionary, and I will use those words around this concept because it is the feminine way of running a business. Maybe scary to some of you. And when I first kind of started digging into this concept, quite honestly, it made me comfortable because of all the societal norms around femininity. Femininity, often we're told too emotional, too big, too bitchy, too bossy, too emotional. Oh my gosh, too much emotion. We need to make sure that things are transactional. We don't get tied in too much because there may be layoffs, or there may be this, or there may be that. It's a very almost cold transactional experience. And quite honestly, I've been a part of many companies that have tried to personalize or build or enhance employee engagement. One of the biggest benefits about being a small business owner and having a small business is the engagement and the connectivity. And that, in that little bubble in itself, is the superpower of small business. But are we leveraging it to our fullest capabilities? And when we take on everything ourselves and try to be superwoman, super mom, super wife, super everything, instead of asking for help and, more importantly for business, scaling our business. And the only way to scale our business is to establish a team. But not just any team. It needs to be built on the foundational of this marble jar principle. And you need to find the right people that make sense for you. Because what makes sense for you as an employee or an independent contractor may not be the same right person for me. And that's also a benefit of being a small business owner, is that you really get to find that and be that matchmaker. But that's become elusive and very much of a trust exercise for small business owners. So I've broken it down in this 4-part series of how to kind of, quite honestly, build a superstar team. So this is really how to build a team that grows your business when you're not there. And that is the evolution you want to get to. So what is a marble jar company and team? Now, this is the foundation of how you build trust between the people in your company, between you and the people between each other in your company. And there's this idea, and well, it's not an idea, it's a book. The Science of Getting Rich. It is one of the most fundamental, timeless books. And matter of fact, with one of our programs, we give away the book, a PDF and an audio version of the book for free as a bonus. But the concept of this book is very, very simple. And I'm going to dive into that. But we can't keep doing the same things that we have been taught to do or that we have been doing as a 6-figure business and expect that to get us to 7 figures. We have to evolve and grow and do some different things in order to get to that 7-figure mark. Now, one of the people that I studied and absolutely fascinated me, that the entire story, is Sarah Blakely, the owner of Spanx, literally a bootstrapping. If you don't know what bootstrapping is, that means self-funded. You get out there and pound the pavement. You don't go search for angel investors or anything like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But Sarah's story is about bootstrapping. Literally packaged stuff up in her living room in her apartment and went out and talked to people. Now, Blakely believes that business typically follows a masculine model. Now, I want to define what I'm referring to as a masculine model. A masculine model is competition is the bottom line. You compete for everything. It's kind of cutthroat. The winning is praised, right? That is the masculine way of doing business. The feminine way of doing business is through creativity and creation. It's the very element of what women, the way we were made. We were made to create. We create life, for God's sake, inside of us. We can create life inside of us. So the feminine way is through creativity. The masculine way is through competition. Now, when you look at those two things, competition versus creativity, when it's based on competition, someone always loses. Always. That's the essence of competition. There are winners and there are losers. Someone always ends up feeling bad. Now, I want to put something out there right now. I'm an athlete. I grew up playing sports. I love sports. I love competition. I love it. I really do. I think there's a time and place for it, though. I think competition is healthy and good. But I think it's a muscle that is overused in business. That's what I'm getting at. Now, if that's the masculine way where someone always loses, right? And you're always hitting numbers. There's always that pressure. The opposite is creativity. And when you focus on this feminine way of doing it, this marble jar concept, which is the feminine way of doing business, everyone wins when we go and move and lean into the space of creativity. Everyone wins in that scenario. The employee, the contractor, and the business. Everyone wins in that space. Because there's a genuine care for each other, because we're not competing against each other. We're creating together. That's the big difference here. I know it sounds so simple, but when you think about business today, it's actually revolutionary. And it's what I have built Femcanic tools and the Femcanic brand on, is through creativity, the cultivation through everyone that I work with to harness and empower their creative being. We were all born creative. We were. It just kind of gets beat out of us the older that we get, because society wants us to fall into this structured pattern. But kids, step back and look at kids. They're the essence of creativity. So let's keep moving into this a little bit. I want to talk a little bit more about the science of getting rich. It's a book. It quite honestly changed my life. I had put together and collected 15 to 20 years worth of content through journaling and notes that I've taken. I spent, oh my gosh, just under a decade working for Morgan Stanley as a financial advisor, and working with millionaires and some billionaires, and working with Edward Jones, and working in the financial industry. And I pulled all that together. And then my experience of working and talking to literally thousands of women. And this book, I had all these notes, and I really started working on this program really hard the last 4 years. But it's a culmination of information that I've kind of collected that I knew I would use at some point, and that was very important nuggets. I just didn't know when, how, or how to organize it. And then I read this book. I actually listened to it. And I read it, but I prefer listening to books. And I listened to it 4 times in a row. Not an exaggeration, 4 times in a row. Because it finally started to all make sense because of its simplicity. This book, The Science of Getting Rich, is by Wallace D. Wattles, and it was published in 1910. It is timeless, absolutely timeless. And these are some key points in the book that I want to read to you. Here's one of them. You must get rid of the thought of competition. You are to create, not compete. And just to kind of dig more into this content and this concept, the more people who get rich on the competitive plane, the worse for others. The more who get rich on the creative plane, the better for others. Everyone wins in that scenario. You are to become a creator, not a competitor. You are going to get what you want, but in such a way that when you get it, every other person will have more than they have now. And that is the estrogen and feminine way of doing business. That is it, ladies, right there. It is not weakness to ask for help. It is not weakness to live in a creative space. This is our superpower that we have been pushing down, denying ourselves to try to play on a field that was not made for us. It doesn't make that field wrong or bad. We have neglected our field and try to force ourselves into another field instead of embracing our very being as a woman. We were built to create life inside of us. No one else, nothing, anywhere can do that. Not the way we can. So once we step into our true power as women and we start running our businesses as a marble jar company that embraces this concept, we're going to keep running into roadblocks. It becomes harder for us. Instead of being and doing who and what we naturally are at our core, what we were born to do as females. This is the evolution. So let's get into a little more. How to build a marble jar company. First, we have to understand, and the purpose of this episode is to understand what one is. And we're starting to dive into that and understand that. It's the femininity. It's leaning into our creativity, right? But how does that translate into business? I want to spend a little bit of time diving into that and how this translates into business. This translates into business and creating a marble jar company by creating a safe space, a truly safe space. It's about speaking openly and honestly with each other. It's about encouraging others to take chances on their creative ideas. Fail fast, fail early, fail fast. But my God, do something. I would much rather an employee, contractor, my children, me, to go and do something that is from our creative space. And maybe it doesn't work out, but now we know. You get much further ahead by going forth and failing than doing nothing at all. So I encourage everyone that I work with, go be creative, fail early, fail fast, and fail often, because that means you're moving your feet and doing stuff. You have to keep moving. But if your people, your team is afraid to implement and try their creative ideas, it is no different than living in the traditional masculine business. It is truly encouraging, embracing. And we are all conditioned to kind of have that fear of trying our creative things. It's a very vulnerable place to be, to share your creative ideas. Me being on here right now, talking to you, creating this podcast, this is my art. This is my creativity. This is me being vulnerable with you. Because now anyone can go down and comment and say anything about me personally, about my content, about anything. And we all know there's keyboard warriors out there who hide behind their keyboard. But you have to keep going. And as their leader, you need to encourage them to push their limits in creativity. It's almost like creating a family and building that relationship. So this marble jar concept, that's high level. I want to share with you the basic principle of what Brené talks about when she introduces the marble jar company, or not company, marble jar friend is what it really is. Imagine each person that comes into your life, they come into your life and they have a jar. So they have a jar, your parents, your siblings, your children, your friends, everyone has a jar. When you remove someone from your life, maybe they're toxic, maybe they're just not good for you, and you remove them from your life, they no longer have a jar with you. All right? throughout the course of your relationship with that person, things happen. Maybe they're there for you. Maybe your mother or your father passed away and they came to the funeral. They get a marble in the jar. Maybe they remembered your middle name. They get a marble in their jar. Maybe they remembered to spell your name right or pronounce it right. Maybe they called or text you on your birthday. Getting a marble, earning a marble with someone doesn't mean a massive big thing. Because the marble jar is built on those small, seemingly small acts of kindness that is continually done that you appreciate. It's not about the big things. It truly is about the little things and showing that you see them, you hear them, you feel them. They're not a transaction. They're not a number. They matter. See, your employees and contractors, customers, clients, you have a marble jar with them. Are you putting marbles in? Or are you doing the things or not doing the things that cause them to be removed? That is what a marble jar company is all about. It's the jars that the employees have with each other, that they have with you, that you have with customers, that your customers and clients have with you and your company. The idea is to continually fill the marble jar. We are all human. We fall flat on our face, and there will be times that in our jar with other people, that a marble gets removed based on our action. And that's okay because we're human. It's the culmination, the cultivation and culmination over time where the jar gets filled and that there's far more going in than comes out. That's the idea. I want to share an example with you. When I first heard this concept, I thought about a story from when my daughter was in third grade. I got an email from her teacher, and her teacher asked to speak to me. And I'm thinking, and my daughter's name's Jaden. She's a good student, good grades, always got good marks for behavior, so on and so forth. So it kind of caught me off guard a little bit. So, and it wasn't, I didn't have to go in or anything, but she just wanted to call me. So I got on the phone, I was talking to her, and she said, I wanted to share with you something that happened this week at school. And she's like, it has helped me out a lot. And I think it's helped out this student a lot. I'm like, okay. You hold your breath as a parent. And she said that there's a boy in her class, and this is in third grade, that, has been challenging during that school year. His home life is challenging. He acts out. And my daughter is very much an empath and cares deeply about people. And she really took to this little boy and befriended him and became friends with him. Well, he came to class that week, and evidently that weekend he got a haircut, and he hated the haircut, and he was emotional, and he would act out in aggressive ways by flipping desks, and he was just, he's not a bad kid. He just tough home life, And Jaden, once he calmed down a little bit, Jaden actually asked him, and she had earned marbles in her marble jar, his marble jar for her. So she earned the right through seeing, hearing, and feeling him, being present with him, she earned the right to ask him, can I see your haircut? Now, he didn't trust anyone else to be able to do this. Finally slid his hoodie off, and my daughter looked at it, his haircut, and she said, genuinely, I like it. The teacher goes on and shares this story with me over the phone. And she said that she instantly saw a transformation in this young boy. My daughter and him continued to become good friends. And from that point on, this was early in the school year, she did not have near the problems as she did before with this little boy. From that moment where my daughter took the time to be present and really see him, changed the trajectory of that boy's school year. That is what building a marble jar company is all about. I am the co-owner of Women's Motor Fest, and this year, this is 2023, it's our second year. You may be listening to this later. And we had our second annual Detroit Women's Motor Fest. And it was a huge success. We tripled in size in 1 year. I mean, any business that triples in size in 1 year, not alone one event, it was huge success, right? And really gaining momentum. And we had an Airbnb. My dad was with me. My son and daughter with me. My daughter's best friend, Addison, was there as well. We had an Airbnb, and the event, it's exhausting, right? Because you're out there all day and we're setting up, tearing down, all this stuff. And we get back to the Airbnb. I'm exhausted. Everyone's exhausted. And I'm surrounded by people that love and care about me. Well, I had recently gone through a period in my life where, and I'll say it's a grieving period, where I let some people go in my life because I knew I had to in order to move forward and get to where I needed to be and where I wanted to be. But that's not easy. And this was the first event that those folks were not with me. So here I am, this huge success. I get back, I go in my room at the Airbnb by myself, and I sat there and just cried because it's like, wow, this is a major success, and I'm used to sharing it with someone. And here I am sitting here by myself like, wow, this is amazing, right? And experiencing all these emotions. And I messaged Trish, she co-owns Women's Motor Fest with me. I said, hey, and granted, she has 2 twin boys under the age of 6 months. She was gone all day at Women's Motor Fest. And here I am texting her like, hey, I'm on the struggle bus. Can you give me a call? Nothing work related. I just need to talk. And she called me within seconds and made the time to just let me speak. It was like a 25-minute call. That's it. But it mattered so much to me that even in her situation and being gone all day, and she has twin boys under the age of 6 months, that she just carved out just a little bit of time just so that I could talk. That's a marble. That's a big marble in the marble jar, right? That was business. We're business partners. We're co-owners. And we're friends too. But that's what building a marble jar company is about. That's how you build a team that grows your team. That's how you build a team that grows your business, even when you're not there. That's how you build a business beyond your wildest imagination. Because it's not just yours. It's all of yours collectively together. Because you trust one another. You get excited about it and you believe in it together. That is a true marble jar company. And that, as women, is what we are built to do: connect and create. I hope this is helpful. Make sure you tune in to the next episode, because the next episode we're going to be diving into, okay, I get this concept of a marble jar company. I get it. I believe in it. Now what? The next step is figuring out, who do you hire and for what? What do you hire for? How do I start building this dream team? Maybe you already have some people, but maybe people need switched around in different roles. Maybe some people need let go. Regardless, that's the next step in all of this, is figuring out what is the most important thing that you hire for next. This is Jamie B signing off. Until next time, are you a femcanic?